I say retirement is the reward for a lifetime of hard work. But what happens when that reward becomes your punishment? What happens when paradise turns into prison? My name is Mark, and this is how my golden years became the darkest chapter of my life. If you like our videos, please subscribe and comment below where you're watching from. We love hearing from our global community. I stared at my retirement papers one last time before sliding them into my briefcase. After 32 years working construction in Melbourne, I was finally free. At 57, I had done what most Aussies only dream about. I had enough saved to escape the rat race forever. My super payout was decent, about 380,000 Australian dollars, and my pension would give me roughly 2,800 AD per month. Not exactly millionaire money, but in Thailand, it would make me feel like a king. I had been visiting Pattaya for holidays since my divorce 5 years earlier. Those 2-week trips were my escape from the cold Melbourne winters and the loneliness that crept in after Sarah left. In Pattaya, everything was warm. The weather, the people, the welcome. Every time I boarded that plane back to Australia, I promised myself that someday I wouldn't need a return ticket. That someday had finally arrived. March 2018. I remember the date because it was when my new life began and when my old life ended forever, though I didn't know it yet. The flight from Melbourne to Bangkok felt different this time. I wasn't counting down days until I had to go back to work. I wasn't calculating how much money I could spend before flying home. This time, I had packed everything I owned into 2 suitcases and bought a one-way ticket to freedom. When I landed in Bangkok, the humid air hit me like a warm embrace. I took the bus down to Pattaya, watching the Thai countryside roll by through the window. Rice fields, small villages, endless blue sky. Everything looked brighter when you knew you'd never have to leave. I checked into my usual hotel on Soi 6, nothing fancy but clean, and close to everything I needed. The first few weeks were exactly what I had dreamed about. I woke up when I wanted, ate what I wanted, went where I wanted, no boss, no deadlines, no stress. I spent my days walking along the beach, my evenings exploring the night markets, and my nights enjoying a few beers while watching the world go by. My pension covered everything comfortably, and I even had money left over to treat myself once in a while. But after a month, something started to feel wrong. Not bad, just empty. I was living the dream, but I was living it alone. That's when I met Nim. It was a Tuesday night at a small bar on Walking Street. I wasn't looking for anything serious, just a quiet drink and maybe some friendly conversation. She was 26, with a smile that could light up the entire street, and a laugh that made everyone around her happy. Most of the other girls in the bar were pushy, constantly asking for drinks or trying to get customers to pay their bar fine, but Nim was different. She actually seemed interested in talking to me, asking about Australia, about my life, about why I chose Thailand. "You have kind eyes," she said in her broken English, different from other customer. "I know how this sounds. I know what you're thinking, another old farang falling for the oldest trick in the book. But when you've been lonely for years, when someone finally looks at you like you matter, logic doesn't stand a chance against hope." I started visiting her bar every few days, then every other day, then every single day. We would talk for hours about everything and nothing. She told me about her village in Isaan, about her family's rice farm, about her dreams of opening a small restaurant someday. "I'm not like other girls," she said one evening. "I want real love, not just money." 3 months later, I asked her to move in with me. I know, too fast, too risky, too stupid. But when you're 57 and you think you've found someone who actually cares about you, you don't want to waste time playing games. She said yes immediately, tears in her eyes like it was the best news she'd ever heard. I rented us a nice apartment in Jomtien, 2 bedrooms, pool, security, everything a retired couple could want. Those first few months were pure bliss. Nim would cook for me every morning. We'd spend the day at the beach or shopping, and our evenings were filled with movies and quiet conversation. She never asked for much money, just a little to send to her family each month, maybe 8,000 baht. My mama's sick, she explained. I, good daughter, must help family. Of course, I said yes. What kind of man would I be if I didn't help my girlfriend take care of her family? For the first time since my divorce, I felt like I had a real home again. 6 months into our relationship, Nim asked if I wanted to visit her village in Surin province. I had never been to rural Thailand. My previous trips had all been city and beach focused. You see real Thailand, she promised, not tourist Thailand. My family want meet Australian husband. The word made my heart skip a beat. We weren't married, but hearing her call me that felt right. The 12-hour bus ride to Surin was an adventure in itself. As we got further from Bangkok, the landscape changed from urban sprawl to endless green fields. When we finally arrived at her village, I understood why Nim talked about it with such love. It was like stepping back in time. Water buffalo in the fields, children playing in the dirt roads, elderly people sitting in the shade of massive trees. Everyone knew everyone else, and they all welcomed me like family. "Welcome to my home," Nim's father said in careful English, pressing his palms together in a traditional Y. They had prepared a feast, more food than I had ever seen on one table. The whole village seemed to be there, eating, laughing, asking me questions about Australia through Nim's translation. That night, Nim and I walked through the rice fields under a canopy of stars, brighter than anything you could see in Melbourne or Pattaya. "I want to build house here someday," she said quietly. "Quiet life, away from city. You like?" I looked around at the peaceful countryside, breathed in the clean air, listened to the gentle sounds of rural life. After decades of city noise and pollution, this felt like paradise. "It's beautiful," I told her honestly. "We build house together?" she asked, squeezing my hand. "My family give land, very cheap to build here. We live like king and queen." The idea seemed crazy at first. I was used to city amenities, modern conveniences, easy access to everything I needed. But the more I thought about it, the more appealing it became. In Pattaya, my 2,800 AUD pension covered a comfortable but modest lifestyle. Here in the village, that same money would make me wealthy. And more importantly, I would be building a life with someone I loved. Somewhere we could truly belong. "Let's think about it," I said, but I was already making plans. 3 months later, we were married in a traditional Thai ceremony in her village. I wore a traditional Thai shirt. She wore a stunning silk dress her grandmother had made by hand. The whole village attended, and I had never felt more welcomed anywhere in my life. "Now we really family," Nim's mother said, hugging me tight. As a wedding gift, Nim's family gave us a small plot of land at the edge of the village. Not much, but enough for a simple house and a small garden. Building costs in rural Thailand were incredibly cheap compared to Australian standards. For about 45,000 AUD, we could build a comfortable 2-bedroom house with modern plumbing and electricity. It would use up most of my remaining savings, but with no rent to pay and low living costs, my pension would be more than enough to live comfortably. The construction took 4 months. I loved being involved in every step, choosing tiles, planning the kitchen layout, deciding where to put the garden. For the first time in years, I felt like I was building something meaningful instead of just existing. When we finally moved in, I thought I had found my slice of heaven on earth. The house was perfect. Small but comfortable, with a covered patio where we could sit and watch the sunset over the rice fields. Nim had planted a vegetable garden and was already talking about getting a few chickens. "We have good life here," she said on our first night in the new house. "Better than city. More peaceful." I agreed completely. This was exactly what retirement was supposed to be. Simple, peaceful, fulfilling. But paradise, I was about to learn, can become a prison faster than you ever imagine. The first sign of trouble came about 2 months after we moved to the village. Nim's younger brother needed money for a motorbike to get to his job in the nearest town. "Just 30,000 baht," Nim explained. "He paid back little bit every month." 30,000 baht was only about 1,200 AUD, not a huge amount, and helping families seemed like the right thing to do. I transferred the money without hesitation. The next month, it was her sister's wedding expenses. The month after that, repairs for her parents' house. Then medicine for her grandmother. Each request seemed reasonable on its own, but they were starting to add up. My family good people, Nim assured me, whenever I looked concerned. They not ask if not important. The problem was, they were asking a lot, and they were asking often. By our 6th month in the village, I was spending nearly 25,000 baht per month on various family expenses, almost as much as I spent on our own living costs. My comfortable pension was becoming tight. Maybe we should set a budget, I suggested to Nim one evening. Make sure we're not spending more than we can afford. Her face darkened. You think my family take advantage? You think I marry you for money only? No, of course not, I said quickly. I just want to make sure we're being smart about our finances. In Thailand, husband take care of wife's family, she said coldly. This is our way. If you not understand, maybe you not understand Thai culture. The argument ended with me apologizing and promising to be more understanding, but privately I was starting to worry. Things escalated quickly after that conversation. It was like Nim had been testing me, and now that she knew I would give in, the floodgates opened. Her cousin needed money for his truck down payment. Her uncle's shop required emergency repairs. The village temple was raising money for renovations, and as the only farang in the area, I was expected to contribute generously. Everyone watching, Nim explained. If you not help, people think you cheap farang, think I marry wrong man. Each request came with emotional pressure. If I hesitated, Nim would get upset, sometimes not speaking to me for days. If I refused outright, she would cry and talk about how embarrassed she was, how her family was losing face because of my selfishness. I thought you love me became her standard response to any concerns about money. The worst part was, I did love her, and she seemed to know exactly how to use that love against me. By our first anniversary, I was spending over 35,000 baht per month on family expenses alone. My pension was barely covering our costs, and I was starting to dip into what remained of my original savings. Maybe I should look for some work, I mentioned one day, just part-time to help with expenses. Good idea, Nim said immediately. My friends say they need English teacher at local school. You, very smart, can teach easy. I had come to Thailand to retire, not to start a new career. But I loved Nim and I wanted to make our life work. The teaching job paid 18,000 baht per month. Not much, but every bit helped. I taught English to village children 3 days a week, which I actually enjoyed. The kids were eager to learn and it felt good to be useful again, but instead of easing the financial pressure, my extra income seemed to encourage even more requests for money. Now you make more money, Nim said happily, can help family more. This wasn't how it was supposed to work. The teaching job wasn't enough to keep up with the endless financial demands, so I started looking for additional work online. My construction background helped me pick up some remote consulting projects with Australian companies. Between teaching, online work, and the constant stress of managing money, my peaceful retirement had become a 60-hour work week. I was working harder at 58 than I had at 48, and all the extra money was going to other people. Maybe your family could help out sometimes too, I suggested to Nim one evening. Your brother has that motorbike we bought him. Maybe he could contribute something. Thai family not work that way, she said dismissively. Husband provide, family receive. This is tradition. But I'm providing for 20 people, I said. This isn't sustainable. You want me to tell my family you cannot help? She asked, her voice getting dangerous. You want them to think I marry cheap man? The emotional manipulation was becoming exhausting. Every conversation about money ended the same way, with me feeling guilty and Nim getting what she wanted. I started to realize that I wasn't her husband. I was her ATM machine. But I had put everything I had into this life, my savings, my house, my future. What choice did I have but to keep working, keep paying, keep hoping things would eventually get better? That's when Nim announced her big plan. I want to start business, she declared one morning. My friend, open restaurant in town, make good money. I can do same. She wanted to start a somtam stand in the local market, a simple business selling papaya salad and other northeastern Thai dishes. The startup costs were reasonable, about $50,000 bought for equipment, ingredients, and permits. When business successful, she promised, I help with family expenses, you not have to work so hard. Finally, I thought, a way out of this cycle. If Nim could start earning money, we could get back to the peaceful retirement I had originally planned. I gave her the 50,000 baht without hesitation. The Somtam stand lasted exactly 3 weeks. Too much competition, Nim explained when she announced she was closing. Other seller already have regular customer. Very hard for new business. The equipment sat unused in our storage room, and the 50,000 baht was gone forever. But Nim wasn't discouraged. She had another idea, raising chickens to sell eggs in the market. Chicken business very good, she assured me. Always demand for fresh egg. Another 35,000 baht disappeared into chicken coops, feed, and baby chicks. The chickens died from disease within 2 months. Next came a plan to grow vegetables for the local market. Then an idea about selling clothes to other villages. Each venture required startup money. Each one failed within weeks, and each failure was explained away as bad luck or unfair competition. After a year of failed business attempts, I had spent over 200,000 baht on ventures that produced nothing but excuses. Business very difficult, Nim would say whenever I asked about the money. Next time will be better. But there was always a next time, and it was never better. By our second anniversary, I was working 7 days a week just to keep up with expenses. I was teaching 5 days instead of 3, working online every evening, and picking up weekend construction consulting when I could find it. This wasn't retirement, this was financial slavery. I barely saw Nim anymore except when she needed money for something. She had stopped cooking for me, stopped showing interest in spending time together, stopped pretending to be the loving wife I had married. You always working, she complained when I mentioned feeling disconnected. No time for wife. I'm working to pay for your family's expenses, I pointed out. If we could reduce those, I could work less. You not understand Thai culture, she replied coldly. Maybe you never understand. That phrase had become her answer to everything. Thai culture required me to work myself to death to support people I barely knew, but it apparently didn't require her to contribute anything to our household or show any appreciation for my efforts. I was starting to realize that the woman I had fallen in love with might have never existed at all. The breaking point came on a Tuesday afternoon in November. I had finished teaching and was looking forward to a rare, quiet evening with my wife. When I got home, I found Nim getting dressed up to go out. Where are you going? I asked. Out with friends, she said without looking at me. Which friend? You not know her. New friend from town. Something in her tone made me suspicious. I had never questioned her activities before. I trusted her completely. But something felt wrong. I decided to follow her. I borrowed a motorbike from my neighbor and followed Nim at a distance as she drove toward town. Instead of meeting a female friend, she went directly to a small bar district I had never seen before. She parked outside a karaoke bar and went inside. Through the window, I could see her sitting very close to a young Thai man, probably in his early 20s, handsome, well-dressed. They weren't sitting like friends, they were sitting like lovers. I watched for an hour as they laughed together, fed each other food, and kissed when they thought no one was looking. This wasn't a new relationship. They were comfortable together, familiar, intimate. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. When I finally found the courage to go inside, they were slow dancing to a Thai love song. Nim saw me the moment I walked through the door, and her face went white. Mark, she said, jumping away from the young man. What you doing here? I could ask you the same question, I replied, surprised by how calm I sounded. The young man looked confused and asked Nim something in rapid Thai. She responded angrily, and he quickly gathered his things and left without looking at me. You follow me? Nim demanded. You not trust your wife? Apparently I had good reason not to, I said. We drove home in silence, and that night we had the conversation that ended everything. How long? I asked. How long what? How long have you been seeing him? She was quiet for a long time, then 6 months. 6 months, half a year of lies, half a year of me working myself to death while she was building a relationship with someone else. Do you love him? I asked. Love different in Thailand, she said. I love you like husband. I love him like young love. And the money, all the family expenses, all the business investments, was any of that real? Family expenses real, she said defensively. I, good daughter, must help family. But the businesses, the somtam stand, the chickens, all of it? She looked away. Business very hard. I try to make work. You tried to make it work, or you used the money for something else? Some money go to business, some money. She trailed off. Some money went to your boyfriend, I finished. She didn't deny it. The next morning I started packing my things. Where you go? Nim asked, suddenly panicked. Back to Pattaya, I said. This is over. No, she said, grabbing my arm. Sorry, I stopped seeing him. We can fix. For a moment I almost believed her. The desperation in her voice sounded genuine, and she looked like the vulnerable young woman I had fallen in love with 2 years earlier. But then I thought about all the lies, all the manipulation, all the months of working myself to exhaustion while she was laughing with another man. It's too late, I said quietly. But house, our life, you leave everything? I looked around at the house I had built with my life savings. Every tile, every window, every piece of furniture represented money I would never see again, but staying would cost me even more. Keep it, I said. Keep everything. I packed 2 suitcases, the same 2 I had arrived with 3 years earlier, and called a taxi to take me to the bus station. Nim cried and begged me not to leave, promising to change, promising to be the wife I deserved. But her tears felt like another manipulation, another attempt to keep her financial support from walking away. As the taxi pulled out of the village, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months: relief. I'm back in Pattaya now, renting a simple studio apartment for 12,000 baht per month. It's not much, just 1 room, a small kitchen, and a basic bathroom, but it's mine. My 2,800 AUD pension covers everything I need comfortably when I'm only supporting myself. I eat at local restaurants, I go to the beach, I read books, I meet other expats for coffee and conversation. This is what retirement was supposed to feel like: peaceful, unhurried, free. I lost almost all my savings in that village, about 320,000 AUD in total, between the house, the business investments, and the family expenses. 3 years of my life and most of my financial security gone. But I gained something too. Wisdom. Hard-earned, expensive wisdom, but wisdom nonetheless. I see other expats here making the same mistakes I made. They meet a beautiful young woman, they fall in love, they start supporting entire families, they invest in businesses that never materialize. Some of them ask me for advice, and I always tell them the same thing. Be very, very careful who you trust with your heart and your money. The 2 things are connected in ways you might not expect. They say experience is the best teacher, but sometimes the tuition is higher than you can afford to pay. I don't hate Nim. I don't even hate Thailand. This beautiful country gave me some of the happiest moments of my life and some of the most educational. What I learned is that love without boundaries isn't love, it's exploitation. Generosity without limits isn't kindness, it's enabling. And dreams without wisdom are just expensive fantasies. I'm 61 now, living quietly in Pattaya, and I'm content. I have enough money to live comfortably for the rest of my life, as long as I don't try to support anyone else. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had set clear financial boundaries from the beginning, if I had insisted on prenups and separate accounts and business plans with real accountability. But then I remember that the woman I fell in love with probably never existed in the first place. She was a character created to extract maximum value from a lonely, hopeful man with money to spend. The real Nim was someone I never got to meet. If you're thinking about retirement in Thailand, or if you're already here and feeling the financial pressure I experienced, remember this: your money is finite, but other people's needs for it are infinite. Set boundaries, stick to them, And never ever risk your financial future for someone who claims to love you but treats you like an ATM machine. Paradise is still possible in Thailand, but only if you can afford to keep living there. My name is Mark, and this was my retirement nightmare. Don't let it become yours. What's your story? Have you experienced similar challenges in your retirement abroad? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more real stories from expats around the world.